The operation at Groote Hospital on the 3rd of December 1967 that was led by now renowned Dr. Chris Barnard created global headlines, and it really still remains one of the most publicized medical events in history. But none of it would have been possible without the heart donor. Let's recognize her. It was a very young woman. Her name was Denise Darval, who died in an accident on the 2nd of December 1967 while crossing a street in Cape Town. She was young, and it was decided that she was going to be the heart donor, and without organ donors no lives can be saved, and that's what we're going to be focusing in on now. The first ever global event honoring organ donors took place in 5 cities on 5 continents yesterday with the unveiling of that sculpture we told you about just a short while ago. Groote Hospital, as you know, is one of the recipients of that beautiful sculpture of a candle. Let's talk more about this though, and joining us from Ireland is Peter O'Hickey. He's from the Strange Boat Donor Foundation, and with me as well is Sister Fiona McCurdy, and organ donation coordinator. Good to have both of you, and thank you very much for joining us on Morning Live.
Thank you very much for having us.
Great, and welcome to South Africa.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the foundation. We heard from Dr. Patel the rationale behind donating the statue, but what is it that the foundation actually does?
Well, it basically is trying to promote the whole business and the whole medical practice now of encouraging people to consider organ donation during their lifetime, and to encourage families when the occasion arises to promote the giving of the organs of their loved ones.
Is it growing, Sister? Are we finding that more and more people are donating?
In certain sectors of the population who have had access to information, yes, there is a good knowledge and a good understanding, and through the Organ Donor Foundation there's little red stickers you can put on your ID books and so on, and more people are doing that, so it does help at a time when there's a lot of trauma and so on to see that somebody has put a sticker on, yes, my mother, my sister wanted to be a donor. Yeah. Unfortunately, there still are big areas of our population that we still need to do a lot of work on, simply to inform them as to what it's all about, because at a tough time it's difficult to make a decision that you've never even thought about before.
It certainly is, and there's religious beliefs, there's cultural beliefs, there are a lot of things that you need to overcome in order to become an organ donor. Do you find that this is a sensitive issue to address?
Absolutely. Virtually everybody, whether they're Christian, Muslim, have traditional beliefs, if they haven't thought about it beforehand, something will come up that will make them hesitate and wonder whether it's the right thing or not the right thing. And those are the kind of things that we need to deal with, because when we talk to the leaders of the different communities and religions, they all say that it's okay to donate, but that isn't reaching through to the entire population. So that's part of our work. We've got the Organ Donor Foundation here in South Africa that we work with, and as coordinators there's a group of us here in the state sector and in the private sector. We work together and try and do as much public education as we can.
If you have a look at the trends around the world, obviously working at the foundation, it is a foundation that is international. Obviously you're being here based in Ireland. Are you finding that the world is getting better when it comes to organ donation, or is it still a battle to convince people to do it?
I don't think it's very difficult, certainly not in Ireland now. And I am a kidney transplant patient, and I am so grateful for having been selected to get a kidney, but it took in Ireland it took me 5 years on dialysis before a match was found that suited me. Why, I don't know. I don't think it was anything special, but certainly we talk a lot about it in Ireland. And although we still have, for a small country, I think about 560 patients still on waiting lists for transplants of all the usual types. Yeah.
In South Africa, how does that waiting list look?
Thousands, thousands, unfortunately. And we do have people that wait 5-10 years for kidneys. Heart transplants and liver transplants slightly different, just because the waiting list isn't as long, but the matching is slightly different, because you've got to look at size of donors as well as blood group matching. So it can take years.
What are the criteria to be an organ donor? Are there criteria? I mean, is it better to be young, fit, healthy, or does it not matter?
It does matter in the sense of where you can go from an ideal donor to a not as ideal donor, but we would consider every patient whose family offers the organs who is brain dead. We would consider them on a case-by-case basis, but clearly a young, fit, healthy other person who sadly has gone through a traumatic episode, that's going to be an ideal donor. We can use kidneys, we can use hearts from patients who are over 50, over 60, depending on their health status at the time of the incident. And patients can benefit. We wouldn't necessarily give a 65-year-old's kidneys to a 20-year-old, but there are older recipients, and we would look at doing that sort of thing. So our message out there, although in the past we were saying ideal, we want below 50, etc., now we're saying any doctor that's dealing with a patient who is brain dead, refer the patient to us and we can decide. And anybody out there who thinks that they're too old or whatever to be a donor, don't think that anybody is a donor until the last decision is made that you're not.
Yeah. All right, sister, thank you for talking to us here on the program. And Peter, thank you very much. Beautiful sculpture that's been donated to 5 different cities around the world, unveiled yesterday, South Africa being one of the 5 cities. And I mean, it's a beautiful thing to have, and a reminder of organ donation. And if it's something that you have considered, or something that has been playing in your mind for a while, act on it, do it, become an organ donor. You saving a life by doing that. All right, let's leave it there for this hour. In the next hour, into that museum, and we're going to delve deeper into this day 50 years ago when the first heart transplant was successfully performed by Dr. Chris Barnard and his team. Stay tuned.